What's up, 11.7 Nation? We are here with a special guest. He plays in the Ivy League at Harvard University. Patrick McColl, absolutely tearing it up this year. Hitting 459, 10 doubles, 3 triples, 8 homers, 31 RBIs. This guy cannot be stopped. Just a pure left-handed stroke. We're lucky enough to have him on. It looks like you got out of study hall a couple hours early. Is that right?
Exactly.
No, but basically, I already made fun of James earlier this episode because I'm no longer the smartest guy on the podcast. So.
Dude, you already had to record the podcast, so I don't know what you're talking about. Well, hey, no, but what you are for a fact is you are officially the second best left-handed hitter on the podcast, because Patrick, you're having a heck of a year, but you're not exactly a surprise. I mean, I don't know if you're into like new age baseball statistics or anything like weighted on base average, but I mean, you're having a heck of a year. I think you're like top 5 in the country, and obviously I know you don't want to get distracted by the numbers. Ben and I understand that, but you've had great seasons before, but I'm sure it's nice your senior year to really feel like the game is like yours to be had, so to speak. I mean, what's the season been like for you so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, I got off to a pretty hot start. We were down in Wofford, and I started off well and just tried to not get too focused on that. I think last year, I had a little bit of a down year, and I started thinking about it too much, got in my head a little bit. As you guys know, baseball's it's all about streaks. Sometimes you get hot, sometimes you don't, and so trying to just stay hot while I am.
Yeah, and I know all about the Wofford ballpark because I went to school at Mercer, and Wofford was in our conference, and I think you'll agree that it's a very hitter-friendly ballpark there. Just super short all the way around. Wind blows straight out. I loved hitting there as a player.
Yeah, it was good.
That so before we talk more about baseball, I want to let our fans know some cool, interesting facts about playing in the Ivy League. James and I looked it up, and you guys actually don't start. You guys start your season a little bit later than most teams. Is that due because of, I guess, academics get in the way? Like, you guys can't afford to take a week off of school and go to Florida like Notre Dame does, or Indiana and those schools. So, is that kind of a bump in the road that you guys don't get to get started until probably early March, right? Like late February, early March?
Yeah, it's a little tough. So this year we started March 1st. So Wofford was our opening weekend there. Is March 1st. Part of it, I think, is Ivy League scheduling. They want kids to be in class. And part of it, too, is like it's cold as hell up in Boston right now. Or right now it's okay, but back then it was. So we have to travel and do all that stuff. So like opening weekend, we were in Wofford. Second weekend, we went to Radford. And then we have every year we do a spring break trip where we take the whole week and go. So this year we were down in Florida and do all that. So it's kind of fun to be on the road those first couple weekends, but it's definitely nice to finally be back playing at home and hanging out here.
Yeah, for sure. And so James knows a lot about Radford. I think he played them 6-8 times while you were at Longwood up in Virginia.
Yeah, they were in our conference. But hey, you mentioned the road trips. Ben and I talk college baseball all the time. I want to know, are you one of the, like, on the road, are you one of the bigger pranksters on the team? Do you kind of play it cool on the bus, keep to yourself? Like, kind of give us some insight into, like, the Harvard bus rides. I'm sure our fans want to know how all that goes down.
Yeah, they're definitely interesting. I think I tend to hang out on the back of the bus, which is a little, as you guys know, it's always kind of the fun spot to be.
Oh, yeah.
I know all about the back of the bus.
Yeah. You got some guys on the team who are having to do homework and all that. So, like, you kind of got to be a little careful. There's guys up front doing papers all the time, doing all that. I tend to kind of keep that separate and get into that on bus rides or on the road at all, really, as my teammates kind of make fun of me for. But, yeah, I like to have fun playing the game. I think this year our team is super tight. We actually started off in January. We took a trip to the Dominican Republic as a team. Wow. So that was like an awesome team bonding, kind of just like fun trip. Got to see how the Dominicans play and just how much those guys absolutely love baseball. And it kind of rubbed off on us, I think. I was telling someone, like, every single game we play, I feel like regardless of how we're doing, obviously not if we're down like 10-0 or something, but I feel like we're always having more fun than the other team. And it's definitely shown our record so far. We're doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's always the best, being a part of a team that like just clicks together. Everybody loves being around, and that trip to the Dominican, man, that's big time. That's, I guess, some of the perks of going to a school like Harvard, where Like they're not afraid to, send you in places where you feel uncomfortable. Like I'm not saying you felt uncomfortable, but it's different. Like it's a completely different environment in the Dominican Republic. But I think that the coaches probably wanted you guys to experience that kind of stuff because for the most part, it's just baseball and schoolwork for you guys up in Boston, especially during the winter months where there's snow on the ground. You guys can't get out and play. So I bet it was really nice and like refreshing to see, a different perspective of baseball where those guys live and breathe baseball.
Yeah, it was awesome, as you said. A bunch of you guys. I'm from California, so in the off season, I don't have too much trouble practicing. But it was good to just have the whole team together, get guys from cold weather states, somewhere warm we could play baseball. We were playing games, and as you kind of said, like we weren't just doing baseball on the trip. We were doing team activities. We had like morning beach workouts. We like went and visited an orphanage, just did a bunch of cool stuff. So I think it was really like more than just kind of practicing baseball. It was definitely like a team bonding experience, and definitely has shown so far.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And so you just mentioned that you're from California. What other schools in California were looking at you, or were you pretty much set on going to Harvard no matter what?
I mean, I had a little bit of talks from like some smaller D1 programs out there. I wasn't the biggest recruit coming out of high school. I had a little ways to go once I got here. But once you get an offer from Harvard, it's pretty hard to talk to anywhere else. I had a couple schools
I
talk to
bet
me
that
after.
conversation, yeah, I was gonna say, I bet that conversation with your parents was like, oh yeah, you're gonna go to Harvard. Like,
Yeah, I
you
had
good
I had
choice.
one. I had my offer from Harvard, and I was actually already like verbally committed,
Hmm.
and some other school called me, and I kind of just mentioned it to my parents, and they just looked at me like, you're going there.
Parents,
And
my
it's
parents have
definitely
done the
it's been an
same.
awesome experience.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And so, do you kind of miss home at times? Like, because California to Boston is unbelievably far, thousands of miles. So, do you ever get a chance to go home? And if you do, like, do you miss, playing ball in California versus up in the Northeast?
Yeah, I mean baseball especially, it's tough because we're gone a lot. Like I come to school in the fall, go home for Thanksgiving and winter break, and that's basically it because we're here all spring. You can't no spring break, as you guys know. Sometime like this year, I didn't even go home after school. I went straight to summer ball, was
Yeah.
there all summer, and then had about 2 weeks in August at home. And I think that was for me that was a little tough when I first got here. Like freshman year, it started
Yeah.
getting cold. I was far away from home. Like all my friends went to school out west too. I think I was the only one who made it past like Colorado. So I think that was tough at first, but like I've kind of I've grown up Harvard, and like this is home now.
Yeah, and I think James and I had pretty similar experiences because we're both from Houston, Texas. We went to school. I went to school in Georgia. He went to school in Virginia. So we were far away from home too. And you kind of just adopt like your own little family over in like your your campus. So like whether it's your teammates or your coaches, whatever it is, like you feel like you're at home. And obviously, I'm sure your parents make a few trips out to Harvard every year, come and see you. And that the little things like that really, keep you in the right direction. Like they make you. Um, they make you feel a little bit better about yourself. So
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean when you say all that.
yeah, I got some family friends out here that have been nice enough to kind of like help me out, let me store stuff over the summer, have me
Mhm.
over for dinner for a nice home cooked meal when I'm feeling like I need that. And as you're saying, my parents have been able to come out actually a lot during the season.
Good.
I'm the youngest of four brothers, so kind of have that luxury
You're the
of
baby.
not having anyone at home. Yeah, and I think that was part of the reason I actually ended up out here was I live about 10 minutes from Stanford,
Hmm.
and all three of my older brothers actually went to school there. Um, and so I kind of had that whole experience of close to them in college and seeing all that. And I think I kind of followed their footsteps, like totally growing up and just kind of wanted to do my own thing, be independent. So I
Yeah.
figured flying 5 hours away would kind of make me do my own thing, and it definitely has.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you mentioned your freshman year, and it's a lot. Like you're at school. I mean, you have a workload at school that no one else except teams in that conference can relate to. And then you've got responsibilities playing ball. I mean, you're a serious baseball player. You're taking school seriously as you can, baseball seriously as you can, and then you're going through all that. And now all of a sudden, like you're about to leave, and I feel like you just made all these connections out there as far as like building a life for yourself, and now you're a senior. So I hope you keep enjoying everything you guys have left, because you guys are off to an amazing start. And are the expectations to win and get into that tournament and make this run last as long as possible? Because it looks like you guys have the tools, you have everything it takes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked about it as a team. Like, obviously, baseball is tough. You can't win every game, but we come out expecting to win every game now. And that's kind of a culture that has built up over my 4 years. When I initially showed up, Harvard baseball was kind of on, definitely not on the level we're on now. I think slowly we've just Coach Decker's been very good at recruiting. He recruits athletes. He recruits guys who love baseball, and it shows in our team. And we've just like slowly improved record wise. Definitely improved just like overall in the team aspect and the feel of things. And we're feeling good right now. I think we're tied for first in the conference. We've won our first 3 series, and so like it's definitely cool now that it's a disappointment when we don't win a series or when we don't even sweep, compared to like my first year we showed up and it was like started 1-7. Second year, like we were just absolutely tragic on opening weekends. It was pretty absurd, but it's fun to be on a good team, man. It really is.
Yeah. Have you made a trip to a regional yet? Like, has Harvard won the Ivy League since you've been there?
No, we have not won since I've been here. Definitely not. I don't remember exactly the last time, but it's been a while. This is the year though.
Yeah, this is the year. Absolutely.
I know I've seen Yale in it a couple of the last years. It's hard to keep up while we were playing.
Columbia and Brown win it quite often too. I remember seeing them.
Yeah, Columbia and Yale have kind of been the two top since we've been here. So that's why this past weekend was really big for us, because we've kind of just our whole time we've been here, Yale's had success. I think they've been to the Ivy League championship at least every year since we've been here. So that was a huge weekend for us.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say you guys went ahead and took the series from them. Would you say like that's your most fun rival, or do you have maybe another one that you guys really get up to play for? Like, kind of walk us through that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, overall in the school, the Yale rivalry is easily the biggest. We have the big football game every year that like it's kind of the one football game where every single kid in the school goes and we all tailgate, and that's another animal in itself. But Yale's definitely like our school rival. Dartmouth, I would say that's our second rival, just because we end up, or the schedule changed this year, but in the past we've played them the last weekend every year. And so like last year we ended up beating them in this wild game. It was 18-17. I think we walked off on them and it kept them from going to the championship. So we've ended up having a little rivalry with them. But
dude,
yeah, Yale's definitely.
Before I forget, please tell me you saw the game between Penn and Dartmouth where it went 21 innings last week.
So we weren't watching because we were playing at the same time, obviously, but we were hanging out in the dugout and our team manager is there on his phone. He goes, guys, like it's the 21st inning right now in this game. We're all like looking at him. What are you talking about, man? That's crazy. Yeah, I looked up that game. Some kid, he hit for the cycle, but he was like 5 for 13 or something crazy. He had an unreal amount of
hits for the cycle, but has like a week's worth of at bats to choose from. So
that was crazy too, because the Ivy League is tough because we have to play doubleheaders every weekend. So we do. When I actually showed up my freshman sophomore year, it was we would play 2 doubleheaders on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, because they don't want us playing on Friday and missing classes. So that was an absolute grind. Luckily, they've changed it to just a doubleheader Saturday and 1 Sunday. So that game, I think, was on Saturday. And so they went and played that game, and then they had to play a doubleheader the next day. So that was an absolute weekend for those guys.
Yeah, that's just crazy. It reminded me whenever you said that literally 3 days ago, Penn and Dartmouth, 21 innings, and the final score was like 21-16. So it wasn't by any means a pitcher's duel. So I just had to bring that up. So let's dive into it. I think our fans want to know more about the schoolwork that you have to do and like your lifestyle at school than I guess baseball wise, because I don't think a lot of people understand what it takes to be a student athlete at Harvard.
I know we don't know what it takes.
Yeah, we have no idea. Like, I thought the classes were hard at Mercer, and Mercer's not even close to Harvard as far as academics. So kind of talk about like your class size, and you're an economics major, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about like some of those economics classes, because James and I were both business majors and we had to take economics, and we struggled with that. So I want to know kind of what your thoughts are on all of the classes you have to take and how big the classes are, and who's like some smart people on your team. Like I'm sure you have a couple people on your team that are just like freaking geniuses. So we just want to hear about kind of all the school life. So I'll let you get rolling with that.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely tough, as you guys know. Just being a student athlete anywhere is difficult. You gotta get up in the morning, go to your class, go straight to practice after. Usually, get back and you're tired from all that, but you got to do work. I would say for me, I've actually been lucky this semester. I've kind of got all my economics classes out of the way, so everyone's kind of joking about how I'm not the busiest guy at schoolwork this year, but I've definitely had to work hard since I've been here.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, like there's some guys on our team that are one of my roommates is an engineering major, another kid's a physics major, and those guys are just every time we're on the road, it's you got any free time on the bus, they're grinding on P sets, they're doing all that. So it's a little different, I'd say, than other schools where you like hear about in summer ball. Obviously, you play with guys from all over the place, junior college, D1. There's other Ivy kids. So everyone always asks, like, "Oh, how hard is it?" And when you're here, it's just the norm. It's what people are used to. So you kind of just get used to it. But when you take a step back and look at it, it's a grind. But as someone was saying, I think in general, like kids in the Ivy League who play athletics, it's a work hard, play hard thing where it's just guys who love to get after it, and like you're doing work all the time, you're busy. You can kind of, it is what it is, but it's definitely difficult at times, and it gets busy, especially during exam times, and we still have games coming up. But our coaches are pretty good about letting us take time if we need it for school.
Yeah. So I've always had a thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always had a thought that Ivy League athletics has the most competitive kids in the nation. Like everybody thinks like SEC, ACC, like these guys like to compete. Like no, like you have to find yourself in a position where you have to compete 24 hours in the day. And I know for a fact a lot of SEC and ACC guys don't compete in the classroom, but guys in the Ivy League, they compete. Like they want to be the best in their class. They want to be the best at doing homework. They want to be the best athletics. Like I feel like everybody in the Ivy League athletics loves to compete, because if you didn't like to compete, you would be at some junior college in California right now, probably playing baseball. You know what I mean? So correct me if I'm wrong, but is that a true statement? Like, do you have a bunch of teammates that are just like go-getters? Like they don't wait around for anything. Like they're always attacking the day.
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely true. I think the Ivy League in general. I mean, as I was talking about, like the schedule with all that and like the travel we have to do is, I mean, you have to compete if you're here because you're working hard. You're doing all that baseball stuff, and it's difficult at times. There's some funny conversations in the locker room with guys that get intellectual and get a little feisty. And yeah, I would definitely agree that if you're playing sports in the Ivy League, you're definitely a competitor because you can't really kick back, and it's not like a show up in the middle of the day, go to practice, go to lift, and go hang out. It's a grind at all times.
You can't just go through the motions and be successful in the Ivy League.
Yeah,
like every day.
I mean that's a choice. Like a lot of guys have opportunities to go to other schools around the country. We have guys with offers from warm weather schools down south and out west and all that, but there's something about the name of Harvard that once you get that offer, it's pretty enticing.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you talked about the competitiveness, so I gotta ask, because I'm personally really into chess. You guys play chess a little bit on the bus or in the locker room?
Oh man, it's funny you mention. I personally do not play any chess, but one of my roommates, Ben Skinner, is our center fielder and pitcher on our team, Hunter Biggie. They're good friends, and they play this. I feel like it's every single time we're on a bus or in a hotel or whatever. I look over and they're playing each other on chess on their phone. They're two of the smartest guys on the team, so I stay out of that because I know they'd whoop me.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat.
Pretty wild.
Hey, so who's the smartest kid on the team? Like, just top of your head, like if you had to send one person on a game show, who is it going to be? Like, who's somebody that's coming back with $1 million?
I'd go through and stick with my roommate Ben Skinner. He's our center fielder. He's an engineer. He was going to get a secondary in I think he has one in computer science. He probably has the requirements to do it in economics too. He's working in finance. So that guy he does everything. And when he gets into something, I want Ben working. Well, I wouldn't have been working for me. I'll be working for Ben someday.
That's right.
That. But yeah,
no, that's awesome. Yeah, no. Hey,
Pat,
go ahead, James.
could you settle? Not, I wouldn't say settle a debate, but it's kind of a baseball question. Ben and I have been talking about. So obviously, you're a pretty successful hitter, but let's just say you could make the game easier, and you could know one of two things. You could either know where the pitch is going to be, so like middle in, down, whatever. You can either know where the pitch is going to be or what type of pitch is coming. Which would you prefer, and like maybe why? I know like we haven't talked about this, but Ben and I dive into this a lot.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I would say initially, I'm just gonna say knowing what pitch it is, because I think just like being on time to a pitch is everything when you're hitting. But it's actually funny you mentioned that, because like sometimes guys in summer ball and school and all that, they try and like pick up pitchers who are like tipping pitches, or if you can steal signs and all that. Like guys in baseball are always trying to do that to like know what's coming. But like me personally as a hitter, I hate having that all in my mind in case like something's wrong with it. So whenever people do all that, I try and just tell them like stay away, like let me do my thing.
You just want to react.
Like,
you just want to see the ball hit the ball.
Exactly. That's the way I think about
I was kind of the same way. But that's funny because James actually said he'd rather know the pitch, and I said location. And the reason I just want to explain myself. The reason why I say location is because I can only hit one pitch, and it's a fastball. No change up, no slider.
Well
so it didn't matter. Like if I knew where the pitch was, I'm sitting fastball, and if it's not a fastball, then I'm not swinging. So that's my personal take. But I can definitely see your points of view.
Well, and let me. So I just had to ask that question. It came to mind. But so, dude, what type of stuff do you? I mean, outside of baseball, and I know you're busy as hell with school all the time. But like, what type of stuff do you like? Like, are you just so immersed in economics that you just love and breathe that stuff all day? Like, you read in Wall Street Journal. Like, what do you do for fun? Like, I like those posters, but what do you do to like chill out and get away?
No way. I'm kind of as guys on the team kind of picked up this year, and like it tends to be because I've had an easier schedule because I kind of got all my requirements out of the way. But like I love just hanging around, watching movies, watching TV with guys. I picked up playing the guitar actually about 2 years ago, so I spend probably way too much time doing that according to my roommates. But I would say like movies and guitar and just hanging out in our room. I have a great squad I live with I think it's 5 other kids on our team in my class, and we've just become really tight over the years. So we have a great living situation here. So I'm kind of hanging out with them most of the time. But I mean, you guys on the team find all sorts of things to do outside.
Do you guys play video games like as a team? Like, is there like Fortnite? I'm sure that's really big because I mean I play some Fortnite, and I know a lot of teams around the nation play tons of Fortnite. So are you guys like into video games, or is that like you don't have enough time to play?
It's funny. I mean, it's totally depends on the kids. Like, it's funny. My freshman year, I had a bunch of roommates in Harvard. Your freshman year, you live with it's totally random. So I lived with a bunch of kids who didn't play sports actually.
Yeah, and they're called NARPs, like 4 non-athletic regular people.
There you go. Didn't want to say it.
I'll say
it. But we had a Nintendo 64 in there. So I played Super Smash Bros. Like every single day with these kids. They'd be hanging around doing homework, and they'd hop on, like take a break or whatever. But I played Super Smash Bros. Every single day. We actually we don't have a game system in here. I think we might have had one at one point and just never used it in our room. We tend to like watch movies in our free time and stuff instead. But we definitely had kids. There's a kid on the team last year named Austin Black who was famous for just being this absurd Fortnite player. It's like, I don't know how he got his schoolwork done because that kid played it all the time. I think he had like 30 kills in one game or something. It was fun to watch him just because he was that good. God. So there's definitely kids out there doing it. But
I love it.
Yeah,
that gets me hyped up. Dude, so something else I want to touch on that's not baseball related, but it kind of is. Did you know that Harvard baseball has a video that I think has the 4th most views of all time on YouTube?
Yeah, we've heard about that one. I think that was the Call Me Maybe one. Yeah,
the Call Me Maybe.
10 years ago. I think.
Yeah, it was like a while ago.
I was gonna say, I think it was. I don't even know if I was committed to Harvard yet. I was definitely in high school when that happened, because like when I showed up my freshman year, there was no one left on the team who was in it, but they had played with kids who were in that video. So I've heard so many stories about like all background leading up to it and how it all happened. And
that's
one of our
that's what I was
the
going to
guy
ask.
the guy who comes and coaches with us was actually the one who was driving the van in the video. And he has a funny story because that was when our old head coach was there. And I guess it was like this old head coach would drive one of the vans, and then the other van was this younger assistant coach, and like everyone wanted to be in the younger assistant coach's van because like you know how that goes. And he would like
right.
let the guys play whatever music they wanted. The other guy was like played his own music on the way there, and if he lost, it was no music on the way back. So it was like he was driving so they were in the younger guy's van, and he was driving the van, and it was like this one kid had passed out because there's one kid in the video who's asleep.
Yeah.
Watched it. He's like totally knocked out. He had like taken these like NyQuil or something in the middle of the day because I don't know what was going on. But he had taken some like sleeping medication. They were trying to wake him up to do the video, and he just was absolutely he was gone. He was not there, and so he was like passed out, and they just did it anyway. So no, we definitely know that happens, and there's some funny stories. It was actually funny. It kind of still happened my freshman year, but after that video happened, every road game you went on during warm-ups, at some point they played that song.
The other team would.
Yeah. It was like clockwork, but I think guys have forgotten about it a little bit, but yeah, that still comes up.
I was just wondering if people still talk about that today, because that was a legendary, iconic moment in college baseball. It was like just some small little team making millions and millions of views on YouTube from just something so stupid and funny. It's not even stupid; it's like hilariously funny. And if you haven't seen, for the listeners who haven't, if you're one of like the 7 people in the world who haven't seen it, you guys check it out. I think it has over like 25 million views, which is incredible. So, I had to bring that up. James, we got about 3 or 4 minutes left. What else do you have to say to him?
I mean, this has really been a blast. You mentioned something really stuck out to me, just on a personal level. You mentioned that you're living with like 4 or 5 guys from the team, and you guys are all in the same class, right? You're all seniors.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so just like I hate to for Ben and I to come across as like the old washed up dudes, but like really try to cherish like every last day you have with those guys. I know like they probably get on your nerves, and like they all have annoying habits, and like sometimes like you probably want to fight them, but like make this year last as long as you can. I'm sure all you are hard workers and you all show up early and stay late, but just really try to cherish these moments because like soon you'll be done with it. You guys are doing great. I mean, you're doing great, and you didn't really need us to tell you how well you're doing, but it's just been really cool getting to know you a little bit, and I hope you enjoy, another hopefully 2 months of baseball well into June, man. It's gonna be sweet.
Yeah. Hey, before we get off, you got to make a promise to us, okay? Whenever you start your multi-billion-dollar finance, or what do you want to do when you're older? Like what?
Play baseball, man.
Play baseball.
Let's go.
When one of my roommates does, though, I'll let you know.
Yeah, just you have to hire me and James because we want to make a lot of money and not work very hard. So we want to.
Sounds good to me.
I'm just kidding. No, but we're gonna be looking forward. Hopefully, you guys make a regional. We'll make a trip if it's anywhere within like 4 or 5 hours. We'll come say what's up to you, and then we'll be waiting for your name on draft day. It's gonna be pumped. We're gonna have a pretty good list of draft players that we've interviewed. So. But before all that, don't worry about that stuff right now. Worry about taking this team to an Ivy League championship. Go out on top your senior year because you deserve it. And like I said, I think we looked at the analytical numbers, like the 3rd most offensive player in the country. So that's something to be proud of. Almost
facts.
Almost 2/3 of the way through the season.
Definitely. Thanks. It was good talking to you guys, man.
Yeah. Hey, you're welcome back on the show whenever you want, man. Just let us know.
All right.
See you, bro.
Do it.
See you, man.